Let's begin Journalist Hangout on Sunday on a comic note, but critical notes. Senator representing Borno South, that's Ali Ndume, is lamenting over rising recurrent expenditure in the annual budget of the federal government. It threatened to leave the country if relevant authorities refuse to put necessary measures in place to arrest the ticking time bomb. Babajide, this is new. Ali Ndume is worried by the amount we spend on overhead and to carry out other responsibility. That's the recurrent expenditure.
Yes, he's particularly worried that in spite of the fact that there is a freeze on fresh employment into the Federal Civil Service, that expenditure keeps rising. What we get paid as salaries to federal workers keeps rising, and people are not being employed. So what is going on? That's the question. It looked at the figures over a period of 5 years, and clearly it keeps rising.
And it should not be rising because we are not employing more
people. It shouldn't even be rising at that proportion. The figures are staggering. So what's going on? And then when the man who heads the Wages Commission was asked to talk about the wage bill, he did not know the wage bill. He could not give the lawmakers the wage bill, the figure, the wage bill for the Federal Civil Service. So Ndume and co were very disappointed that what's going on. You should be able to tell us that currently this is the wage bill.
We are paying 1 billion per month.
So that the lawmakers will be guided in the decisions that they are going to take in the final analysis. You can't go before those guys and not be harmed with the facts. Your aides must be around you. So that when you need help, like they are providing. In fact, before people go for those things, if not because we simply take everything lightly in our country, we are non-serious people. Before you go for such a thing, there ought to be a simulation, some form of simulation of the meeting that you are going to have. The question they are likely to throw at you, your aides should be able to simulate those questions so that you are ready.
Off guard.
You are ready. Whatever the lawmakers throw at you, you are ready. You should be able to explain what's going on. How come a recurrent is rising? How come our salary bill is rising? Whereas they have not lifted the embargo on employment. So what's going on? Are people simply giving themselves, allocating to themselves more by way of wages and all that? So these are questions that need to be asked. It's not, the solution is not for Ndume to run away. If people like Ndume, who are senators, who by far have deeper pockets than you and I, if they feel like running away, what will the rest of us do? Where will we go?
Go to Ghana.
He said he's going to Ghana. The rest of us may well go to Nigeria Republic.
And there will be crisis in all those countries.
Or Chad.
Small countries.
There's no place like home. He cannot go anywhere. He's one of the few people, at least, who speak the truth
to power.
In that, although I don't, it's not every time that I agree with him. Sometimes you just see clearly that this man is just trying to play to the gallery. But at least you see that by the law of averages, he speaks the truth most times. And you've got to give him that credit. But he cannot tell us that he wants to run away. Run away to where? Naza Kakoma. Where are you going?
When you look at it, the overhead and what they spend, the perks of office, the allowances and everything, contributing to very expensive democracy we are running.
Yes, it's been established that ours is one of the most expensive democracies worldwide.
Yeah.
And but first, on this issue of wages and other things that constitute what wants to make Ndume run out. We over the years, I've seen semblances of this at the state and local government levels. If you have followed trends in the media, you would have seen states where governors have ordered that the records should be looked into, especially at the local government level. And then, here on this program, I once said it, in a particular local government, I think that was in Benue State, over 10,000 people were discovered to be on the payroll of a local government. That didn't exist.
Ghost worker syndrome is another.
So if that
big
exists
problem that we've not been able to solve
at that level of government, then why are we not looking at what is happening at the federal level? Because like BKO said, you have said, see, we're only going to do controlled employment. And we know where we need those employment. It is mainly in the area of security, where we need more policemen and more soldiers. So if you are now bringing in your bills and the thing keeps rising, because what we should be looking at perhaps will be, if you are saying retirement benefits happen to be on the rise, you say, okay, it's because we are not employing and people are getting retired. So it should mean that what we should be looking at is salary should be going down, retirement benefits should go up, but it won't be at the same state. State
because
retirement is less. What you are paying as pension, as gratuity, is less than what you pay the worker. So what is happening? And for me, I've always been an advocate of our unions not being antagonists, but working hand in hand with the government to check some of the things going on in the civil service. You have a lot of redundant hands in the civil service. Let's leave even the issue of ghost workers. You have too many people who are not needed even in the service. Some have said employment in government should be social service. I disagree completely. Because if you are not rendering any service, I don't see why I should be paying you. Or if I feel that you have 4 people in a particular office and 2 of you can do that job without any stress, without putting you under undue pressure, then you should be able to cut it to that.
What's the sense of having 6 vehicles in the department and you have 24 drivers?
Some years back, I went into one office, in the office of the head of the civil service. They had 4 accountants. And you know what they do, sir? One person works in a month, the other 3, they go on leave. For themselves, so they decide it on their own. One person works.
Let's even put figures to this man's desire to run away.
He can.
He said in 2018, it was 3.5 trillion.
Yes.
Sorry?
3.5 trillion.
Overhead for civil service.
Yes. Then 4 trillion for 2019. In 2020, 4.5 trillion. In 2021, 5.6 trillion.
Yeah.
Then in the projected 2022, is projected that it will be 6.8.
Almost 7 trillion.
Yes. Roughly, this is roughly 7 trillion for in the 2022 budget.
And that's about our budget.
That's what is projected.
That's about our budget.
So where are we going to find money
to pay the
to go into capital project? No, it's just in discipline. In discipline, clearly there are areas where it's possible that a good chunk of this is there are even ghost workers. A good chunk of these services ghost workers.
And some are even dead. And some people are collecting the salary on their behalf.
That was what those pension thieves were doing now.
Yes.
People who are dead, they cloned their documents, and cloned their identity and began to take money.
Now, finally, before we leave this, Jide, why is it difficult? Since I was a young man, I discovered that I've been hearing of this ghost worker. Why is this so difficult to look for a technological different way or something that's very simple to eliminate this?
No, they've been trying to do it, and a lot of the states, a lot of the very serious governors have succeeded in reducing this thing drastically. But with time, they still find a way to bring some of them in. It's a terrible thing, whereby you have a local government, a 2-year-old boy is on the wage bill of a local government. It's a crazy system.
It's very crazy.